So, hello and welcome everybody. Hopefully you can all hear me very well. So we're going to be here for the Siege Rework. So I asked you guys if you wanted a video or a live stream. So we're going to be popping here into a live stream. So we're going to be doing my reactions and discussions to the Total War Warhammer 3 and how it's going to change here for everything Siege related. So I should be really excited to get into this. So welcome here. It looks like we have CJ, welcome, Duros, and Captain Morgan. Hope we're all doing very well. So if you guys are enjoying all of this content, please feel free, of course, to smash that like button and subscribe. That would really help here on the channel. So without further ado, let's pop into this. So as we can see, the Siege work is going to be 4 minutes and 58 seconds long, so it's going to be pretty long. So what I'll do is I'll probably pause here and there throughout, and we'll go through it slowly and see what it's all about. And for you guys that don't know me, well, let's first off start like this. I've seen a lot of content about this where sieges are looked to have been positive and negative here in Total Warhammer 2, and from what we've seen so far from the Siege stuff coming from previous live streams and previous releases here from CA for Total War Warhammer 3, it all looks really, really positive. And for me, for a lot of people that know me, 90% of what I do is multiplayer. However, for the 10% that you guys do know me, I actually do a lot of single player, especially on legendary campaigns. So I have quite some investment in this as well, and I don't think I just see this as a single player point. I think I also see this as a multiplayer point for quite a lot of people and quite a lot of content creators. So I think this is a really important point to bring up and something we should really be thinking carefully about in the future. So I think everything that is coming forward here, it looks amazing. I'd like to get into it in more depth. I've only seen this once, so I saw it on I saw about 5 minutes of Ducky stream. So I think I saw through it, some of it. I was kind of getting ready, and just coming back to do some other things. So let's pop into it, go into some detail, and if you guys have any questions at any point, please feel free to let me know. How are we doing, Cypher? Welcome, and Rusty, good evening, good evening, good evening. Mr. Baron Lloyd, how are we? Let's pop in. So disclaimer, this footage was captured from a pre-release version of the game that is still in development and is subject to change. So there we go, very important stuff there. So this stuff is actually going to be lesser to what we've seen already.
Sieging a settlement.
That's new. That right there, that's new.
Settlement should not be an easy undertaking.
So as we can see here, already down on the bottom side, we can already see it looks like a capture point, which is going to be the generic point here for the wall. So you'll have the door here. Once your opponent gets units in here, this door can just freely open it. In general, single player, you can go through.
Total War Warhammer 3 has reworked how sieges work, with new ways of attacking as well as defending. Every inch taken will cost dearly.
What we're going to do here, I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Sorry about that. I'm just going to turn it down a little bit so we can also talk as we go through it.
Settlement maps are now larger.
Hopefully you guys can still hear this.
More variety of maps than in previous games. With the fall of the Turtle Gate, Miao Ying moves her army from the Snake Gate to Wei Jin in an attempt to bolster the city's defenses and drive Siege out of...
So it looks like maybe, so a little bit of stuff here. So they've already announced the way things are going to change is going to change on the attacking point of view and the defensive point of view. But what I've seen so far, the majority seems to be defensive improvements. Now that means attacking improvements will come along, which means there's going to be some changes here for both sides. And it looks like here, if you do have a reinforcement army, so normally you would spawn inside, but it looks like here you're actually going to be able to bolster it from outside as well. So maybe some other interesting changes.
Cathay. Wei Jin, capital of the Celestial Dragon Empire, is a...
Oh, I love the Terracotta Sentinels, and this, by the way, looks amazing. I'm loving everything about Cathay. Like, the units and the faction about Kislev look insane, but Cathay just looks... I guess the only way I can describe it is beautiful. It's just so well designed, and every aspect of it is everything I imagined it was going to be. It looks awesome, and it's picture perfect.
And
like it looks insane.
Cathay's architectural brilliance.
Yeah, exactly.
Walls are the first defense against an attacking army, but by no means the last.
So walls in past, especially when it comes to single player, and especially, well, we've never really seen any sort of multiplayer stuff with it, but walls have always been a bit of a joke. Like, you generally try and get the maximum utilization out of your walls. If any of you guys see me play single player, I do have archery on top of the walls to get the maximum use out of walls, but once they've breached the walls, walls kind of lose their use. The artillery points on top don't shoot very well, so I'm hoping they're going to get changed. and it seems that they're going to be, as far as I've seen so far. But most walls have an element of joke to them. Once they've hit the walls, you can shoot for a little bit and you can hold for a couple of seconds, but once they've breached it, you might as well drop at that point and form another defensive point within the city. So hopefully we see some changes there from that.
We now have the option to turn the streets into a bloody maze. Using supplies, we can build towers, barricades, and traps.
That makes me so happy.
Prepare and plan your defense, but never rest easy. The first object for any attacker to overcome is the wall-mounted towers. Unfortunately for us Siege invaders, towers now have wider capture areas, so defend.
Thank God for that, because the capture points on Warhammer 2 are garbage. You end up having to stick, like, if you've got, like, you at least have to have at least one unit per wall section to have it shooting, which I guess kind of makes sense, because then you, in theory, have control of it. But I guess if you make it wider, it also makes it easier to contest as well, because also they're an absolute pain to contest. Oh, that needs changing. Okay.
Don't need to be as close for them to be active.
Little blue horrors here on the floor. I like those.
Spread our docked
These cannons look so cool.
And
so we haven't actually seen the archers yet, but of course there are archers.
With arrows, bullets, and.
What is this? This is something new. What is this? Does anybody know what this is? How are we doing, Gastro? The whole aesthetic is fantastic. Indeed, it is. It is. It is. Meowling. Doing great things. Good, man. Good. I hope you're doing well. We all know the maps look beautiful. I want to see the ground and what's new. If we can put archers on those towers, that'd be cool. I think there's going to be a lot of changes for where you can place certain units. Balloons are amazing. I love them. So it's like there's indoors you could break into. Potentially. Pink horrors climbing. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. So here, this hasn't changed. I don't know, because they haven't actually broken through yet, but this hasn't changed yet. I've seen that this can change colour.
Our defense now lies with our barricades, traps, and towers. We'll need a new currency introduced.
Oh, that looks sexy. Look at that. Ooh, I'm about that. Okay, so it looks like some of these have little symbols on them. Terracotta Knight looks awesome. Balloons. That looks like artillery. Another single entity monster thing going on here. So you can see it's like a yin and a yang going on here as well. I've just noticed that. One's white for yin and yang, of course. So interesting. There's a model of 32 here or something. Oh, that's going to be the new. That's going to be the new shielded snipers. Then looks like we've got a different bunch of infantry here. Oh, looks like we have metal casting. Yeah, so we're going to be seeing the metal caster, of course, with the alchemists doing their whole thing. And then we've got Miao Ying. Nice. Oh, doesn't we have one? Oh, we have one big balloon. Two different types of balloons. Interesting. Okay. Okay. I'm about.
Defense with a base number of supplies and can gain more during combat by holding locations around the settlement.
I really like this. I really like that.
Key building and victory points. These key points have pre-designated build locations for construction. Once a barricade or
okay, so it looks like you can put up to 250 points into somewhere. I don't know if you can just pick one of these. It looks like you can get them for free. So it looks like maybe you have a limit on how many of these you can put up. But I think that's probably going to be the smart way of doing it. But some can be for free. And, of course, these are going to have, I'm sure, negatives for attacking them. You're also going to be having maybe some, you might be able to drop, like, oil or... Oh, yeah, there is, actually. You can see at the top there, there's actually a building... resource point at the top, so you actually have a quantity of resource there, and it's like you can see what you have captured. And this also looks and bodes really well for multiplayer, and I think this can actually make like siege battles strategic, and units that have stalk and things like that could really get in and have a big play here on siege battles. Of course, a lot of people will not be too interested in siege battles, but I think it's another era of multiplayer that could be investigated for sure.
Tower is constructed, it can be dismantled for a refund of supplies and rebuilt elsewhere. But keep in mind, construction and dismantling.
Go back. That was like 500, wasn't it?
Construction and dismantling is a lengthy process.
How do we go back there?
Keep in mind, construction and dismantling is a lengthy process and rebuilt elsewhere.
So these ones are really expensive. So it looks like there's some real capture points as well. So you can see there's an exclamation mark on this one, 250. So not all of them are free. Not all of them are free. Some are 500. Okay,
but
maybe they're more like platforms and stuff like that.
Is a lengthy process.
So you got a gate over here as
Barricades
well.
And towers are destroyed if their health reaches 0, or if the supply.
Some good stuff there. So you can see they're taking down there, and of course it's going to go up.
If this occurs, your supply.
So I think I saw somebody here saying as well. I guess the zero cost wall, just others have various. Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. Somebody was saying here. I think it was you, Cypher. Yeah, this looks like Shogun. I've never actually played Shogun. I've got it downloaded. I've never played it, but I've heard as multiplayer goes, it's a really strong competitive game. So. Maybe it bodes well.
Refunded. It's worth noting that whilst attackers can capture points, they cannot build barricades or towers.
Okay. So you can't build any defensive points inside.
Streets, Warhammer 3's sieges are about defenders controlling the flow of battle, using
very
settlements
important.
architecture to plan and execute layered fallbacks and hardpoints.
I mean, that's kind of, if you watch myself, or you watch Legend, or you watch any of these other guys playing Legendary campaigns, this is kind of how we work it anyway, right? When you've got a defensive wall, you generally fall back in stages. When you're attacking and you're fighting and people are pushing onto you, this is kind of how it works anyway. You have the walls, but in the Warhammer, currently in Warhammer 2, there's no point holding the walls. There's no advantage to that. What you want to do is then you want to drop back, right? You have your archers on the wall, you have your artillery pieces firing on the wall, and then once they have no utilization, there's no point holding the wall anymore, because they'll just start climbing, and yes, they lose vigor and all these things, and they have to break down the gates, etc. But it's just worth falling back, and then you put your spearmen, you create a wall, and then you keep shooting over the top, and then once they've broken through those spearmen, they come on to the next one. There's just walls and walls of infantry coming forward, but it looks like now you can actually implement them on and actually have archers at strategical locations where actually have defensive points. So you can just have your archers in beside. You can see here we have cannons in the back, we have archers on top. You can just have some spearmen here. Once this gets down to maybe 10% health, drop your archers back, put your spearmen forward just here, and then of course when they do break that down, bang, straight in with the spearmen, and you can then start shooting over the top with the archers and start dropping back your artillery. So just gives you a bit more time to work with.
An attacker's forces. To this end,
this is really cool.
Settlements have become multi-leveled with bridges and upper tiers that cross over streets, giving ranged units more opportunities to shine.
That's amazing. I like this.
A good many of these.
But you've already seen there. Just one negative from me. I don't know what we saw that here.
That cross over streets, giving ranged
so when you see here,
more opportunities.
You can already see that it's filtering like so, and this is a bit of a problem. Now, multi-level cities, amazing, insane, love the idea. I'm all about it, I'm 100% in, but of course that can cause a few problems. That can cause a few problems when it comes down to coding, etc. You can see this is all filtering in a nice tight bob. That's one burning head away from losing about 3 units. But it looks awesome, it looks awesome.
Primary walls, giving our soldiers
just peasant archers there.
Benefits of
peasant archers as well. So it looks like they're going to be like cheap archers like you get here. Oh, Harmony Ying. Oh, so it looks like they have harmonies. Okay, so perhaps you can imbue them with specific harmonies. They can be Yin or Yang, and maybe it gives them different bonuses or negatives, which is quite interesting. Yep, they're going to be expendable. This is pretty much just the same as you're going to be seeing from the Bretonnian archers. It looks bang on the same, actually. Looks actually bang on the same.
Any other docked unit. In sieges, both the attacker and defender's role are tactically more challenging and more rewarding.
Okay, so we just saw there we're going to have, it actually looks like some negatives. So negative speed, negative melee attack, and a 32-meter range. That's really important. And it gives you build times, it gives you health of the walls as well. So you can do some rough math calculations of this many models. If you take a front line, so you've got X many models, does this much weapon strength, this is how long that wall's going to last. You can have a rough idea of how long each element of each wall is going to last and how long you need it to last, depending on what's behind it. So, for example, if you've got artillery behind, you're going to want more health, bigger walls. It's going to last roughly 10 seconds so I can get away and do as much damage as possible. So, yeah, and I like this as well.
Settlements in Warhammer 3 have been designed with more open areas and strategic avenues to hide troops in.
It's gorgeous.
The avenues are the perfect ambush spot, making flanking and devastating charges a more viable tactical strategy.
Ambushes would be really cool inside the city, because that would actually happen.
Warhammer 3's sieges offer a diverse array of fresh settlements.
So I like this, of course. They're going to push for this gate and want to push up these lines, and you're going to be able to shoot over the top, but of course you're going to get some flanking elements in from the sides as well. So yeah, it's interesting. Of course, like this being on the top is obviously going to have a disadvantage and an advantage. If you're going to be in the back there, let's say we have the square or the town square in the back there, and they start capturing it, and you're up here, you might have to make some wild round the back stuff to try and see if you can contest that. So could be some positives and some negatives here.
They allow defenders to prepare for a new kind of battle occurring after the attackers have taken the primary walls.
I love these balloons, man. I'm going to keep saying it.
They add a new currency to manage and spend on fortifying defensive fallback positions with barricades, towers, and traps, which are used to further repel
Traps
invaders.
will be cool.
They allow for a multi-layered experience where units can be docked to overlooks and walls within the settlement itself.
This looks good.
And encourages real-time reorganizing of defenses to adapt to an ever-changing battle.
Can anybody tell me what those are?
All of these
Anybody tell me what these things are? Because they look pretty wicked. I don't know if anybody knows what they are. Faster speed, I think, gets buff. The get buffs of being near Ying units. Oh, what Yang units do? I missed out a few with you guys are saying. I'm not gonna lie, multiplayer with these Siege could be a good show. I think so too. I think so too, Baron. I think there's some more exciting stuff than this than people are letting on. A lot of people are going, oh, you know, I'm not really interested about this. This seems like single player. I'm like, this could be really tactical multiplayer as well. I think if we have to give it the right opportunity, it could be really fun. It could be really, really, really fun. To be fair, Duros, after having some of the modded cities like the old Altdorf map, CA had a pretty high bar for things like capital cities, and I am a bit disappointed it doesn't feel as grand. You don't think this is as great as you were expecting, or you don't think it was as great as you were? Flamers of Siege. Oh, that's cool, man. I like the name. I like the name. I like the name. Welcome everybody, by the way, who is joining.
Dynamic new settlement designs make for challenging and satisfying
sieges. Go back. So there's the first line. I don't know if I can see any others here.
Designs make for challenging and satisfying sieges packed with highs, lows, and phenomenal visuals.
Lots of terrain.
Wei Jin has fallen, but the forces of Siege will struggle to reach the celestial city above. The Dragon Emperor is safe for now. Even so, his daughter has barely managed to escape with her life. To Nangao she travels.
Interesting. I think there's a lot of really, really cool elements. I'm excited for this. I really am excited. I'm going to tell you multiple reasons why. Especially when it comes to single player and multiplayer. Let's start with a really obvious single player. There's some really, really good stuff about single player for the fact that when you get into multiple campaigns, cheating mechanics are pretty comfortable. If you've seen any Legends campaigns or you've seen any of mine, I can't really think of too many others on top of that. There are other people, of course. There are other big YouTubers that do all of this kind of thing. But if you've ever seen at least him or I play, you'll see that I can't speak for others as well. But you'll see that using archers and there's blind spots and there's all these areas and elements behind cheese mechanics on the single player. So this builds for multiple walls of capture, meaning that you can really slow down the campaign map. If you have a limit of 20 minutes, you're not going to be able to cheese it out as hard, and you've got multiple levels to go through before you can get city capture. And of course, the AI is going to have to, it can be a little bit smarter, can start building walls, start falling back. It could be interesting. It could be interesting from a single player perspective. Of course, depending on how smart the AI is going to be about it. Or, of course, you could be going up the middle line and it puts walls on the outside. We could see something stupid like that as well. Anything's possible. But from a multiplayer perspective, this is really exciting. This could make for some insane competition. Insane competition. You've got resources. You've got army setups. You can come in with different game plans, and different factions are going to work differently. And of course, if you go into the whole multiplayer kind of thing, you go bands and protect, you're going to get different defenses, you're going to get different armies, and then you're going to want to attack with different ways as well. I think unfortunately the only problem with something like this is things like cavalry and things like that can be useful, but not really. Nowhere near the same way as it can be as a 1v1. You're certainly going to see more units rather than others, but of course you do see that in the multiplayer scene anyway, so maybe you'll see a different flip on the other side. But what sort of questions do you guys have? What do you think about this? What do you think this could all be in the future? And is there anything you'd like to go through a little bit more here in the video? Let's have a look, see what you guys are saying. Alrighty, so this is a huge city. I doubt every city will be this large. No, so they've specifically said this is just the capital. This is just the capital for Cathay. So that's why it's so large. That's why it's going to be having 3 walls. And it's going to be having multiple defenses per stage. So all the smaller cities will be different. And I feel like there's a lot of cities out there that in the single player scene that could be very comfortably taken with an army that's really not that great. And actually, in reality, attacking and sieging, especially in previous times, is not as easy as it gives off. And you'll be seeing a lot more sieging and a lot more holdout, especially for attrition, from the perspective of single player. See what else we got. I hope they can shoot at everything advancing. Raised platforms will be looked into. I think a lot of people discuss like Thunderers, handgunner units, and line of sight, and all these sort of things. That'll be a lot they look into because this is a big overhaul. This is a big project. This is something they would have investigated. Wait, so defenders survived, huh? Yeah, apparently they survived. Shot cav ambushes from the side could be devastating. Yes, exactly. So if you can get ambush flank points, maybe you could even invest where you cut off areas of the city with a barricade that can get knocked down. That you can then charge in for. That could be obvious though. That could be obvious. Or you could do a couple of baits in there. You maybe spend a little bit of gold, have a bit of a bait one. Of course, they're going to be having to check and the way they move, and you could put some really fun, interesting ideas into this. I think reinforcements could be outside the walls. Yes, I think so too. That seems to be the way. I kind of like the 3 kingdoms I said earlier in Tyran's Discord. I would like if we can deploy outside. Okay, yeah, I think that could be good as well. I think that could be good. Because, of course, then you could defend from the outside and fall behind your own walls. But, of course, then you will be susceptible to people coming through. I'm curious why the commentator said that defending army survived. Did they not lose? They lost but survived because, of course, I think that's just one of the walls. Hey, Earth Dog, how you doing, buddy? I would like to see a hot oil and arrow combination, rock drops from the walls. Yes, I could totally agree. I'm sure we'll see some level of those elements, if not immediately, at some point. I'm sure we will. I don't know, I'm confused, Swiss Pikeman. Yeah, I really got weirded out about the part we lost our capital. So I think as well here we saw a lot of elements in here in regards to also I'm loving some of the cinematics they're coming in with. That's really fun. Let's have a look, see if we can get a nice good picture here of the overhaul of the. So I know that the artillery pieces on the walls have been worked with as well, where they can shoot a little bit closer, because that is the problem. Once they've got into this sort of range, this is when you need to leave the walls. You need to have already left the walls by this point, because in the current Warhammer 2 scene, especially for single player, at this point it's done for you. At this point, the walls are no useful. So the walls have been breached, the walls have been utilised, they're done. Nobody of any right sticks spearmen up here or any sort of infantry. There's no point having it here. Once you've lost it like this, you've lost it. So hopefully rocks and oil and all these kind of things can be utilised to really help the front line of the wall, where it just makes it more difficult to push in as well, you know. Yes, I think something on the walls here could be utilised to make it a bit stronger. I like this idea. So you can see, you can connect. I like the overlay. You can have all the strategic points. I think if you start taking over points, because they haven't gone through it yet, they haven't said a single word about it. I think if they go through points, if they obtain these points, obviously the advantage is that you get disadvantaged because you lose those advantages that you're getting. So for everyone they take, I lose something. So, but I hope there's something more positive for the attacker, so you can build up momentum, because otherwise you're just going to be falling back onto more and more and more defenses. But as we can see here on the minimap, we can see all those defenses there on the minimap. So we can see this one here at the front, looks like 2-ish here in the middle, and then 3 there at the back. So that's going to be all 6. But of course, you've got some army coming in for the left, you've got some coming in, you've got a whole flank there on the right that's available, but of course you're attacking here, and the walls go all the way around on a big square. Now that is good, and that is really bad. So, for example, Why might you not want to deploy here? Because if they do come in from this side, they can then literally wheel round, and this entire infantry force at the front here is going to be completely get collapsed on. There's no way to retreat it. That's what all your archers are going to be. It's not looking good for you. It's not looking good. Of course, you can barricade here, and you can barricade all around. So you barricade off this left-hand side, so you can retreat right and back round. But of course, then you're going the real long way around to retreat your units back to try and defend some more of these defensive points. So there's going to be a multitude of ways you can do this. There's going to be a multitude of ways that aren't going to be efficient for single player and very different for multiplayer. You have resources. I don't know. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be fun. What can they do for attackers? I don't know. But they said they're certainly going to change some things for attackers, but they haven't talked about it yet. But I think it looks really, really fun. I'm loving the unit cards. The unit cards look insane. I'm loving the building of the walls. It looks like you can build them in a multitude of places as well. So if we look here, let's go through here.
For construction.
So you can build one here.
Barricade or tower is
and then it's like just around the corner here you can build on. And there's one even there as well you can build. So it looks like there's just a multitude of places you can build. It looks very interactive, and it looks like you can be very reactional to what goes on around you. You can also, if you accidentally click somewhere, it's not like it's permanent, you can break it down, but of course it takes time, so it does look good. What have we got here? Taking strategical points as well, just like just getting your army in. So of course, if you decide to leave places to save your troops, you can obviously just give up those advantages. Yeah, it looks interesting. I don't know what you guys are thinking. I'm just curious how they'll make cities for demons. That could be very interesting. WhatsApp 2, how you doing? This looks pretty cool. I hope stays on the way they said in the final result. I don't know what they've said for the final result, but it looks pretty cool. Chasing Rainbows, how are we? How are we? Still looks like a pain for those attacking in the siege. Defending looks like fun, though. Yes, but of course, defending in reality is obviously a lot better. Attacking is very, very difficult if you know anything about history. Attacking massive fortified cities is not fun. It is not fun at all. You generally always have to outnumber. And if you've seen any of the live streams from myself, you will know there's a lot of cities that I go, they've got a full 20 stack there. I do not have the army to defend this. There's very, very specific locations you can defend, and I will generally rate those cities, those hold points that are very strong on. If you take the high elves, you've got the donut, you've got the gates that go around, like the Phoenix Gate that go around the donut of death, that I like to call it. With that donut of death, you've got those little city gates. Those city gates are a good 9 out of 10. They're very strong, they're very long, and of course they split up the force there of the AI. You can shoot your archers down the line, you can drop back, and you've got that little square point that they have to go around 2 choke points to get into the middle. Spearmen on each side, shooting over the top, artillery pieces, and horsemen there just to rear charge and just continuously cycle charging. Very, very good city, very, very good defense, but it's the fact that that is really good. The fact that if they could level out all of this and then just add in strategic points so that, you know, certain of them aren't OP and some of them are really bad. There are some that you can't defend. You get like a pretty poor army that doesn't always benefit you. I think there was one siege place for Empire where you get like 4 units of cavalry, 3 units of infantry, and 3 units of range. I'm like, I've got more cavalry than range and infantry. I can't defend this with cavalry unless you literally get aggressive. Unless you get aggressive, I don't know if you can defend it sometimes. Like sometimes the city does not help you at all in any shape or form. But you know, that goes both attacking and defending. So sometimes it takes years to siege a city. Exactly. It is not meant to be easy to siege. I didn't see an option for traps. I haven't seen an option for traps yet either. I haven't seen anything yet. Howdy, just woke up. What did I miss? We've just gone through the entirety here of the 5-minute Siege rework of what they're going to do here for Total War Warhammer 3. Welcome, by the way. Hope you're doing well. So we're just going through that and delving down a little bit into kind of what's going to happen here. And as you can see, I think it's this element where they broke through. Yeah, so here's what it looks like. They've broken down some walls. So it's like we're not going to be able to rebuild here. They've kind of taken this area of the city. This looks like there's going to be some more of the elite halberd units. These look really cool. As I said here, I'm loving the idea of multi-leveled cities. Multi-level cities is going to allow you to protect your archers a little bit better. But of course, it comes with advantages and disadvantages. It gives them a quicker A route through to the the main objective point, which will be to capture the city or capture that walled area of the city. And of course, then, you know, your archers turning around and coming around to defend that could take a long route to get there. And of course, we saw the funneling effect here earlier on. Let's have a look. Can't remember where the fun. Oh, there we go. There's the funneling effect you can see. You can see they've all just like sat tight to the wall. They've not used the entire... But I don't know how you fix this. This I don't... Because of course they'll go through the quickest route possible. So this could be a problem for a burning head, or this could be a problem for just about anything. A sea fang would destroy this. But being a bit wider here could be better as well. So because archers are just going to hit multiple units. They're really going to miss. This looks painful. This looks painful. I'm going to be honest.
A good many of these bridges and overlooks.
So as you can see, they call them overlooks. And it looks like you can actually flank here up on the sides and come round. So of course here you've got to be careful that you don't get your units trapped in these little overlooks, as they call them. So yeah, there's going to be multiple levels to go up into the city. You can see we've got some build points in behind. Yeah, it should be pretty fun.
Dockable like the primary walls,
I can only see positive things from
all
this.
the buffs and benefits of any other docked unit.
So this looks good. That was a built-in wall there. Let's go back to that.
Giving our soldiers all the buffs and benefits of any other docked unit.
So you can see here we've got a nice big walled element, so we can still shoot down. We still get those nice arc of fires that we want, and they've been pushed right onto the edge. Now, of course, if you have some Thunderer units here in the back, we can certainly see a problem. So something I foresee here is that Thunderer units in from behind are really going to struggle. You're only going to be getting your front line firing here. Archers will be very good on this. Units that rely on gunpowder, yeah, not so much, not so much. So hopefully they'll be thinking about processes for factions just like that.
Unit. In sieges, both the attacker and defender's role are tactically more challenging and more.
Also, I think a lot of it's going to come down to, so there's a trap. There you go. So there's a trap for you, Duros. So it looks like one of the traps is going to be this one. So it's like they're going to come attack the wall, and then that's it. Negative 15% speed, negative melee attacks. Of course, they want to withdraw. They're going to be slower. They're going to take more damage. Also, love the new Winter Magic. New Winter Magic is a good idea. Oh no, we've lost our Alchemist. We've lost our Metal Caster. That's a shame. But, yep, these are the traps. So it's going to be a bit of a hex bind area. 32 seconds, as long as they're in that trap, they're just going to continuously keep affecting them, I think. Or maybe it's just 32 seconds and then that trap is done. Then it just becomes a normal wall. So essentially you pay for the wall and a trap. Essentially seems to be the idea.
More rewarding. Settlements in Warhammer 3 have been designed with more open areas and strategic avenues to hide troops in.
As we can see here, very wide, so we can see the L-shaped area of the wall there. You can see it's in a nice square box, but of course that leaves a lot of flanking here potential. So, of course, you can start pushing on multiple walls, and then you can really start wheeling in and sort of collapsing on that front line. You can put your chaff in the front as it's going to push up to the walls, and of course they have to stop it because of course you can have strategic points here on the left. But of course, then if you will round with some units that do flank on the outside, maybe some more expensive units. You can then really start, deleting these points and forcing your opponent to at least spread out their forces. Or you have to force them to give up strategic locations to gain map control. So I think multiplayer, this is big stuff. Big stuff. Big stuff. That's what you guys are saying. Sometimes it takes years. Yeah. Just look at a Bing Sing Say. The Fire Nation tried to get that place for years. Yeah, man. Ba Sing Say. Those halberds have shields. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. It would seem easier if you gave the attackers miners and sappers tunnels under the breach wall. Maybe. You could be getting some more attacking options. They really haven't gone through that yet. Yeah, leave it to the rat boys. Glorious Face is blocking the Winter Magic. Oh no! Sorry guys, I didn't realise you couldn't see that. That's my bad. I do apologise.
Perfect and allow defenders to prepare for a new.
So I think what we'll do is we will, unless you guys have got any questions, we'll probably leave that there. But we can see like it looks insane. I absolutely love the designs. I'm all about this, and I'm loving the new siege mechanics. It's bringing in a bunch of new, fresh ideas that's really going to spark up Total War Warhammer 3. You're going to be getting 7 brand new factions, new mechanics, really awesome stuff, and potentially more multiplayer and more interactive single player as well. So I think all things are positive here. There might be a few minor in-game issues in regards to, you know, maybe just some infantry movement that might get a bit bugged out and things like that. But it's nothing we don't, you know, we like to call it extra content here on the channel. It's things we already see anyway. But I think that it being multi-leveled as well is also going to have an advantage there for the defender. As you can see, we are going to continuously be going uphill. So, of course, you are going to be shooting down. And also, you're going to be constantly fighting uphill as the attacker. So I'm sure in the future here we will be seeing certainly some more advantages for the attacker. What that's going to be, I don't know. Hopefully we'll see in the short future. And of course, you know me, I'll be making some content on that as well, as this is something that is certainly more close to my heart as a single player and a multiplayer streamer. But for multiplayer, looks very positive. I think this is an actual, that people want to see it now. This makes it very competitive. So I noticed that they were using ladders to assault the walls. If you push poles on the walls would make that a little harder. Yeah, maybe there could be some ways you can counter it. Hey, Ducky, but the game has ducks in it. Yes, it does. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. I can't remember his name. Is the Weaver? Is the Weaver right? It says the 18-year vet. Ladders are in every siege, I think. Yeah, they are in every siege. But I think that's right with Earthdog. You know, a way you could counter that with ladders on the walls. If you had infantry on the walls, maybe you could push those ladders back, or at least hold them, or at least fight against it, or fight them on the ladders. Something cool like that we've definitely seen in previous history. You know, that way actually pushing out your forces here, as we can see. Let's see if I can find that there. We can see here, obviously on the defensive point, we've got a nice big square that actually needs to be an advantage to having infantry on the walls. So something I did talk about earlier is, for example, having infantry on the walls once they've breached. There's no point being there anymore. There's nothing you can do about it. They will get on the walls and they will fight you. And there's no advantage to holding the walls anymore. They've already breached them. So maybe actually there's something there that Earthdog is saying, that actually if you can fight on the walls, or you can at least push them and hold them back even longer, because you will hold them back there, but of course you are stuck on the walls. If they start pressing into other locations, well, you're stuck there. You can't defend anywhere else. And of course, the more choke points you can push them through, the better for you. So of course, having 3 or 4 units on the front wall on their own, just so we can hold and keep that maintained fire, if we're not getting the maximal benefit from it, what's the point in being there? So if there's more benefits of being on top of the wall, I'm all for it. Otherwise, it's going to be the same mechanics that you see from a lot of our single-player streamers as well, which is going to be, well, they've breached the wall, it's time for me to drop now. But that's where, of course, if that is going to be the mechanic, that's where you're also going to be seeing a lot of these barricades coming in that you can build, that have traps, that have all these positives as well. And hopefully maybe some of these traps as well that you can build, you know, you saw some of the ones there for 500. Maybe they're going to be having some sort of level of artillery on them, or they're going to have some sort of damage spells where you can throw, like, bombs. Things like the bombers there from Vampire Pirates would be very strong. That'd be very strong on those nice barricades. Ladders are really successful in history. That's why people kept using them. No, this is true. Especially when you've got very nice high walls. I think Ducky was saying ducks are in RuneScape, so 10 out of 10. Oh, really? Oh, right. I didn't see that he said that above. Yeah. I think Greenskin should be able to catapult their forces over the walls with varying units. I hope so too. I hope they could just load up goblins and just fling them forward. That'd be so fun. Shogun didn't. I think they just climbed the walls very slowly. Oh, okay, fair enough. As long as I didn't use 100% of my vigor climbing, then I don't mind staying. Should be really fun. Well, listen, everybody. So thank you very much, all of you that did pop by and come see this nice little trailer here that we have from CA. Just absolutely spamming out content at the moment. I'm very happy, and we're seeing all of this amazing stuff. And I'm really, really excited, like truly excited to see what they have coming forward, because there is just so much content that's coming forward here for Total War Warhammer 3. And with ideas like this that we already have here in, well, for the predominant single-player game, pardon me, predominantly there for the single player game. What we're going to see here for the multiplayer as well when it comes to open field battle, we're going to be seeing some other elements like this. We're going to be seeing some level of reinforcements. We're going to be seeing elements you can put on the battlefield that can certainly aid you. Are we going to be having these capture points? What sort of things are we going to see here in the future? Let me know what you think. Of course, like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll be back in the very short future with some more videos and, of course, some more content. Now, if you guys want to see a little bit more from me and Mr. Rubber Duck of War, we're actually going to be popping over to Twitch in about the next 5 minutes. And we're going to be kicking off our 1 Pro, 1 Bro series. Now, what does that mean? That means one of us here who is an expert in the game will be leading as the pro, and the other player there will be the bro. So we'll be doing multiple different games here where either Ducky will lead or I will lead, and then the other person will follow. Invariably, I'm sure you guys will very quickly work out who is the pro, and you'll very quickly work out who is the bro. But we'll be doing that for multiple series where we go through it together, we have some fun, you guys suggest what you want us to play, we'll tell you what we have and haven't done, and then we'll go have some fun, have a laugh, and put out some more content for you guys. Of course, that's just going to be extra content. That content is just going to be for Twitch, so that we can leave all of the multiplayer stuff and all of this really cool Siege Workshop stuff and all of this here on YouTube. So other than that, guys, take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all very, very soon. So take care.